Pass this high school test, part 1. I think I'm about as smart as I was in high school. Kind of. Okay. What does 3 times 10 to the power of 8 mean to you? That's the speed of light. What's the longest side of a right triangle called? The hypotenuse. I think they spelled it wrong. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, if the hypotenuse is 98, what's the value of the shortest side? Can I get it? I'm going to come back to this one. Let me just get a piece of paper. What is the key to prevent one branch of government from being too strong? Checks and balances. Gatsby's real name in The Great Gatsby? I have no idea. Please name the following compound. NaClO. That's sodium chloroxide. That's chloroxic sodiol. That's air salts. It's type of bird Charles Darwin studied before coming up with the theory of evolution. It was a finch. What is to return in Spanish? Returnal. Who was president during World War II? Which country, shithead? Probably America. Say Harry Truman. Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? It's the quiz doesn't make any... There's 2 answers! It's FDR. What do you mean it's FDR? Who do you think dropped the atomic bomb? They're both right. Statistic. What is the name to A? What? What is the name to alpha? What is it called when we use our right hand to determine the magnetic field or magnetic force? Right hand rule. Rise over run is slope. Susan B. Anthony is famous for women's suffrage. Suffrage. Women's rights. Okay? Tan 1 is also called 0.5, 0.25. Tan 1 is also called 360 degrees, also called 1, and I don't remember, 90. It's 90 degrees, 98 degrees. Name one of the 3 forms of ESP that psychologists studies. What? Social study. Social psychology? I don't even understand the question. What was the novel that Harper Lee wrote? To Kill a Mockingbird. Name the technique where a solution of known concentration is used to determine the concentration of an unknown solution. What is titration? When you find the slope of an exact given point on a graph, what is that called? That's called the derivative. The impulse? Sorry, give me a second here. This... I don't remember. What are we doing when we use the second derivative in a graph? Finding the area under the curve's curve. Finding the sum, the volume of... The key difference between a Taylor's polynomial series and Maclaurin series is the sigma theta value. I pass. Average score is 22%. That's sad in and of itself. I should have gone back to the triangle question, don't get me wrong. I'm just asking for some of these to be rewritten. Excuse me, name one of the 3 forms of ESP that psychologists study. Telepathy? Telepathy? That psychologists study? Telepathy? I don't buy this. I think this quiz is bad. Not just because I did badly on it. I think it's just bad to begin with. Also, yes, instantaneous rate of change is represented by the derivative. The rest of them, sure, whatever. Are you smarter than a high school freshman? That one, I would say I hope so. Are you smart? I'm just going to type in, are you smarter? But then I have to scroll down past the ones that are college students. Are you smarter than a gaming curator? Are you smarter than a math wizard? Are you smart enough to date Austin? Are you smarter than a fifth grader theme song? Ah. How about this? Are you smarter than a music curator? Music clip for question 7. So these are all curators from Sporcle, okay? They curate the quizzes that go to the front page. Pink Floyd album, come on, Dark Side of the Moon. What artist has the most cumulative weeks at #1 on the Billboard chart with 82 weeks? Michael Jackson. Elvis. Taylor Swift. Bruno Mars. Okay. Eye of the Tigers by Survivor. What is the original English title of the song the Beatles recorded in German called Komm, gib mir deine Hand? I would say that's I Wanna Hold Your Hand. I want to hold your hand. What's the longest leading Billboard Hot 100 #1 single of all time? I have no idea. It's Thriller. It's Billie Jean. It's Gangnam Style. Who wrote the music for The Marriage of Figaro? Vivaldi. I mean, Puccini. I mean, I don't know. Play clip for audio clue. The French song Comme d'habitude, isn't that by Nirvana? Was adapted into a version with English lyrics recorded by Frank Sinatra. It's called My Way. Which female country artist sold the most albums? Shania Twain? What? Taylor Swift? What? What? It's not Shania Twain? What? It's Carrie Underwood? What is Miranda Lambert? What? Figure out the lyric. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. What K-pop group known as the Princes of K-pop released the songs Ring Ding Dong, Lucifer, and Sherlock? It's BTS. I mean, Big Bang. I mean, To Anyone. I mean, the Princes of K-pop? H.O.T. And I honestly have no idea. No clue. You can't hurry love, you just have to wait. It ain't hard to tell. Samples a song from Michael Jackson. It goes beep beep boop boop, boop. Human Nature. That I'm proud of myself because I had to come up with that. I was listening to it in my head. I was like, and then another part of my brain went just faintly. Why? Tell them that it's you. Let's go. That's a huge one. Okay, Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen. Power of Love, Huey Lewis. End the News. What? Who recorded the cover in 1994? Is not Huey Lewis and the News? I have no idea. What Taylor Swift song contains the lyrics, I'm sorry the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now? Why? Oh, because she's dead? Bad Blood. Blank space. New Taylor 2.1. I have no idea. Is it not Huey Lewis? 9 of 16. Honestly, I'll give up on this one. Mariah Carey. Okay, some of these, I'll give you some credit, okay? Oh my God, Celine Dion. I was thinking of don't need money, don't need fame. Don't need a credit card to ride that train. I did not know that Old Town Road was the highest, longest leading Hot 100 #1 single of all time. I had no idea. The Sound Smart About quizzes are also good. I mean, we did beat the average. I don't know if I'd say that's a pass. Hold on. Okay, Sound Smart About, they can come next, okay? But first, Aston Martin redesigned Prince Charles Volante to run on which beverage as an alternative fuel source? What? Water? You gotta give up? Really? Tea? Beer? Coffee? Beverage? Olive oil? What? His car runs on what? What could it possibly be? Wine? His car runs on wine? How does it combust? Also, that shit is expensive, man. That's not like $3 a gallon. Alcohol burns? Yeah, but white wine is like 14% or something. It's like 90% water. Which girl's name has never left the top 30 baby names? Mary. Emily. No idea. No clue. Sarah. Sally. Jessica? Which former president was the first American chancellor of the College of William and Mary? I don't know. John Adams. Quincy Adams. Martin Van Buren. I'm going to say it's Jefferson. I'm going to say it's George Washington. Okay, George Washington. Which company originally manufactured bicycle tires, horseshoes, and poker chips? How many individual black and white squares would be in a crossword puzzle that's 18 by 18? I'm not doing it. What type of pasta translates into little worms? Wormageddon. I'm going to be honest, I'm not smarter than a miscellaneous curator. I'm done with that shit. No way. Don't give me this shit. What is the only president to have served as Chief Justice of the United States? I got no idea. What fast food restaurant has the slogan, "Eat fresh"? Those are not the same level of difficulty, okay? Quiz is balanced poorly. Sound smart about. How about sound smart about World War II? I can do that. I can sound smart about things. It's a lot easier than being smart. Okay, World War II was partially rooted in the Treaty of Versailles. Come on, everybody knows that. Hitler wrote a biography called Mein Kampf. The European theater of war began with the German invasion of Poland in 1939. They've been expanding. What policy kept Western powers from intervening? That was appeasement. Poland was also attacked by a different country on September 17th, 1939. Britain refused to go to war with this country. That would be the Soviet Union. France is thought of an allied power throughout World War II. After the fall of France, the leadership became Nazi collaborators from the resort town of, well, here's the thing. I know it's called Vichy. Vichy, France. Wait, no, Vichy, France was the... They were the... Isn't Vichy, France the one that was... They were the still allied. Now, I don't sound so smart anymore. I always thought that Vichy, France was... No, they became the puppet state. Okay, never mind. Then I'm going Vichy. The Vichy? This airplane was responsible for shooting down 529 enemy aircraft while only losing 230 of its own. Let's call it the Lancaster. It's the Spitfire. I should have known that one. Just take the easiest answer. The most powerful ship in the German Navy sunk the HMS Hood. After relentlessly chasing down the ship, it was crippled by the British and scuttled on May 27th. It must be the Bismarck. The single deadliest battle of World War II would be the Battle of Stalingrad. Emperor Hirohito avoided the war crimes prosecution that befell most of the leaders of the Axis. This is because the Minister of War and Prime Minister was executed for his crimes. That was Yamamoto. That was Tojo. Okay, I'm not as smart as I... All right, what am I doing listening to all these podcasts? If I don't even know the name of the Japanese Minister of War from 1940 to 1944. United States were able to kill the architect of the attack on Pearl Harbor. That would be Yamamoto then. Deadliest German instruments of war in World War II. I'm going to say it's the Panzers. It's the U-boats. Okay. The V-2 was used by Germany. Okay, I know this. This World War II ace had far more kills than the Red Baron. I have no idea. I'm going to assume it's Eric Hartman from South Park. One of the greatest reasons for success in World War II was the production ability that allowed for the building of massive amounts of machines of war. This company built 8,800 B-24 Liberator bombers at their facility in Willow Run, Michigan. I'm going to say that that was Ford. That's why it's built Ford tough. One of the most devastating battles of the late stages of the Pacific War, a Japanese force of 21,000 fought to the last man with only 216 taken prisoner on this island. Iwo Jima. This is Oppenheimer. Come on, you got to know that one. This country lost more people in the Second World War than anybody. They had 27 million soldiers, Soviet Union. This country lost the second largest number of military personnel, with 20 million dead during the conflict. I'm going to say China. China, I mean, big population size, also part of they invaded by Japan and also had a civil war. It just makes sense. Japan surrendered in 1945. Not knowing this, 2 different Japanese soldiers kept fighting until the 1970s. In 1999, this bank admitted to their role in financing the building of Auschwitz. Is it Deutsche Bank? It is. Well, I sound smarter than the average, at least. You don't sound smart about popcorn. Maybe we shouldn't have started with the Second World War. I had an account with them until like 2 years ago. Honestly, if you have an account with Deutsche Bank, you should cancel that right now. Now that you could be forgiven for not knowing. But now, I'm sorry, you've got to. I'm so smart about the Premier League. Are you ready? It was created as a replacement for the first division of the Football League. In which year was the Premier League founded? That was in 92. 6 teams have competed in every Premier League season since its inception. Which one of these clubs is not one of the 6? City was relegated briefly. Brian Deane scored the first ever Premier League goal when he headed Carl Bradshaw's long throw-in past Peter Schmeichel in his side's 2-1 victory over Manchester United. What club was he playing for? That's Aston Villa. Come on. I knew it could have been Sheffield United. Mr. Sheffield United. Following the publication of the Taylor Report recommending all-seater grounds for top-flight clubs, Wimbledon were forced to share a stadium with which other Premier League club? Obviously, it's the Queen's Park Rangers. It's Crystal Palace, my mistake. In its maiden season, the Premier League had no sponsor and was simply called the FA Premier League. This changed because they became sponsored by Barclays. What, the Carling Brewery? Really? It's not called the Carling Brewery Premier League. It's called the Barclays Premier League. Eric Cantona received a red card for kicking a Crystal Palace player in 1995. What infamous act occurred after he was giving his marching orders? He karate kicked a fan. He refused to leave the pitch, so play was halted for over 20 minutes. He removed all of his clothes, or he tore the referee's card in half. He refused to leave the pitch. He karate kicked a fan? I thought that was like the one from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where they're always like, what's 1 + 1? 0, 1, 2, or my butthole. He kicked a fan? You gotta watch it. It's insane. Holy cow. I had no idea. 3 years after the inception of the Premier League, it was decided to change the number of clubs competing in each season to 20. How many teams originally took part? 16. 20. They cut 2? They went through a reduction? I didn't know that sports could do that. Alan Shearer scored a mind-boggling 56 Premier League penalties during his time playing for Blackburn Rovers and Newcastle United. How many times did he score in the Premier League to begin with? 58 penalties? I'm going to say 220 goals. 260. This guy's crazy, man. Arsene Wenger is famous for managing Arsenal. Yeah. But from which Japanese club did he join Arsenal? What? I'm going to say the Nagoya Grampus 8. Dwight York became the first non-European to win the Golden Boot when he scored 18 goals for Manchester United in 1998-1999. Which country did he represent? Jamaica. No, it's Trinidad and Tobago. In 2001, Southampton moved into a new 32,000-seat stadium, St. Mary's, bidding farewell to the ground in which they've resided since 1898. What is the name of their old ground? Main Road. No, it's the Dell. The Invincibles is a name given to Chelsea. After Manchester United ended the Invincibles' 49-game unbeaten run with a 2-0 victory, players and officials from both sides clashed in the tunnel. What item did one player throw at the Manchester United manager? Apparently, the Premier League goes kind of crazy. Let's go with a slice of pizza. He threw a pizza at him? Like from Breaking Bad? Derby County had a miserable season in 2007-2008 as they broke the record for fewest Premier League points after winning just one match. How many points did they earn? Well, like a win is 2 points, right? And they play like 38 games. So they won a game and got 2 points. And then in 37 games, they get 6 draws. I bet they got 10 draws in 36 games. It just makes the most sense. Duncan Ferguson and Salomon Rondon are the only 2 players in history to accomplish what feat? I'm going to say receive a red card in under 30 seconds. Score a hat trick of headers. Only one player has ever scored, assisted, scored an own goal, and received a yellow card in Premier League history. Which Welshman is credited with this record? Ryan Giggs. It's Gareth Bale. My mistake. Sergio Aguero scored a legendary stoppage time winner to crown Manchester City as Premier League champions in 2012 as the side fought back from 2-1 down against 10-man QPR. Which player's only Premier League assist set up the iconic strike? It must be the goalie, Joe Hart. Mario Balotelli had 1 assist in his whole Premier League career? Wasn't he like a starting striker? I mean, you got to be like a legendary ball hog, right? Isn't that a celebrity chef? You're thinking of Mario Batali. He's the Iron Chef, the Italian Iron Chef from Iron Chef America. Leicester City seemed destined for relegation, but they survived. And okay, so yes, they won the Premier League in 2015. Who guided them to glory? Puel. That was Claudio Ranieri. My mistake. Fastest goal in Premier League history occurred in Southampton's 1-1 draw with Watford as Shane Long latched on to Cathcart's sloppy pass and chipped the ball over Foster's head. How long did it take Long to find the net? It cannot be 1.69 seconds. It would take more time for the ball to travel from half to the goal. I'm going to say that could happen in 8 seconds. It just makes the most sense. Controversial new method of refereeing, VAR. Okay, we got 7 out of 20. I don't sound that smart about the Premier League. Ancient Rome, though? I think so. City of Rome was founded by Romulus and Remus at the banks of what river? The Tiber. The Roman Republic was established in 509 BC when Lucius Brutus overthrew the monarchy and was elected first consul of the Republic. Who was the last king of Rome deposed by Brutus? Tarquinius Superbus, Numa Pompilius, Nero, or Servius Tullius? Here's the thing, okay? Nero is not he's not a king, okay? He's a software you use to rip CDs. Sorry, to burn CDs. I think it was Tullius. Never mind. It's Tarquinius Superbus. The Senate functioned as an advisory council of the Republic with around 300 to 500 senators. The ruling class elite could become senators. However, later people commonly known as these were also added, plebeians. Roman law was the legal system of ancient Rome. Huge if true. It forms the basic framework for civil law. Okay, what was the first legal text of the Roman law called? That would be the Legis Romanus. Gauls led by King Brennus sacked Rome in the early 4th century BC and left the city in exchange for gold. According to a legend, it is said that Romans on the Capitoline Hill were saved by which sacred animals of Juno? What? I'm going to say eagles. Geese? Can I get some real questions? Who crossed the Alps to invade Italy? That's Hannibal Buress. Gaius Marius reorganized the Roman legion from a system of maniples into cohorts. What was the total number of men in a full-strength legion following the Marian reforms? 10,000. This is a nice round number. The Asiatic Vespers refers to the killing of all Romans in Anatolia by Mithridates VI to rid Asia Minor of Roman influence. It was one of the first genocides in human history. Okay, Mithridates VI, by the way, is canceled. Mithridates was from Parthia. He's from Pontus. That's my bad. Julius Caesar. Okay, this is where the podcast starts. Julius Caesar was assassinated in 42 BC. Following his assassination, his adopted son Octavian established the second triumvirate with Mark Antony and Pompey. That was Marcus Lepidus. I'm getting my ass beat. When did Pax Romana end? It commences from the accession of Augustus and ends in 180 with the death of which emperor? Nerva. That's Marcus Aurelius. You're not wrong. My ass is grass. In the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, 3 Roman legions were ambushed and defeated. Who was the leader of the Germanic alliance? Jugurtha. Who the hell is Jugurtha? I know it wasn't Vercingetorix. He's from the Caesarian conquest of Gaul. Who the hell is Jugurtha? After the turmoil in the Year of the Four Emperors, Vespasian took control of the Roman Emperor and established a new dynasty. What was the name of this new dynasty established by Vespasian? That was the Flavian dynasty. Under Emperor Trajan's leadership, Rome's dominion spanned 5 million square kilometers. How much of the world's population was under Roman influence at this time? 20%. Emperor Hadrian built a wall. It's located in which modern-day country? United Kingdom. The Praetorian Guard were the personal bodyguards for Roman emperors. Praetorian comes from the Latin word praetorium. What does it mean, Basil? I'm going to say that it is the general's tents. This is a tough one. There's still a chance for us to get 50%. Emperor Aurelian played a huge role in ending the crisis of the 3rd century by defeating the Gallic Empire and the rebellious Palmyrene Empire, thus earning him the title of Restorer of the World. Which queen ruled the Palmyrene Empire? This is a straight-ass guess, but Zenobia sounds cool as hell. Thank you. Christianity developed in the province of Judea in the mid-1st century. It spread through the Roman Empire and became its official religion. The first one to profess Christianity was Constantine I. He could do it! One more! In 286 AD, Diocletian established tetrarchy and divided the emperor. He moved the capital of Western Rome from Rome to Mediolanum. Later, Emperor Honorius moved the capital city from Mediolanum to which easily defendable city? Constantinople. It began... Okay, which... Emperor Romulus Augustulus was forced to abdicate in favor of which Germanic warlord? It was Odoacer. I knew that one. I knew ice cold, okay? My podcast. My podcast. I'll take my 50, but holy cow. Oh, here we go. Sounds smart about Scandinavia. Where's the volcano Eyjafjallajökull? That's in Iceland. Which country is known for fjords? Norway. It was the only country in the loosest sense of the definition not to be transcontinental. I would say Norway. No, wait. I guess I would say Denmark. Is Denmark even part of Scandinavia? Denmark is just Europe. Iceland is like half North America, half Europe. Sweden goes up to the point where it is in the Arctic, which I don't know, is Arctica a continent in the Arctic? Wait, no, okay, you're right, because Denmark has Greenland, which is kind of North American. Norway has a place in McMurdo's Station, which is in Antarctica, which is a with God as my witness, I think it's Sweden. Sweden has no Antarctican colony / research base. I got to go a little faster, too. In which country do you find Ytterby, a town where the elements yttrium, terbium, erbium, and ytterbium were all discovered? That sounds Danish to me. Never mind. Which country is the oldest as an entity, having been unified in 872? I feel like that would be Norway. Which country is the only one to never be directly ruled over or dominated by one of the others? I feel like that has to be Denmark. Which country is the world's second largest fish exporter after China? Certainly feels like Norway to me. Which of the languages is not relatively easy for the other three to understand? I know Norwegian is relatively easy to understand if you speak English. Is it possible that these three are all part of one family? No, that doesn't make any sense. I get that, like, Icelandic has different characters. Maybe it's Icelandic. Which country has the largest population? I'm going to say Sweden. Which country is the home of Lego? Oh, fuck. It's Denmark? Okay. That's one you don't want to get wrong. Twitch should be very mad about that one. Beerenberg, located on the island of Jan Mayen, is the world's most northern volcano. That certainly feels Norwegian to me then. Which capital city was called Christiana until 1924? I believe that's Oslo. Which is the flattest country? That would be Denmark. Whenever I play GeoGuessr and there's a mountain, people laugh at me when I say that it's Denmark. Because they're like, Denmark is the flattest country in the world. So I'm going to say Denmark. Which country has the oldest continuously used national flag? I'm going to say Norway was the first. No, it's Denmark. Okay, fair enough. Which one is not a monarchy? I feel like it's Iceland. There's no king of Iceland, no queen of Iceland. Which is the only country to own undisputed territory in Antarctica? That would be Norway. Which language is an official language in Finland? I have to feel like it would be Swedish. IKEA was founded in Sweden. Which Nordic country is not a part of Scandinavia in its strictest definition? Iceland. Which capital city calls itself the capital of Scandinavia, even though the other capitals are a little annoyed by this? I would think that it's Stockholm. I'm insane at Scandinavia, man. I've been gaslit into thinking that I don't know anything about Scandinavia. It turns out I'm incredible at Scandinavian trivia. My God. I'm kind of an expert. I'm not going to do the popcorn one. I'm also not going to do Rugby Union, okay? Or Pink Floyd or Britney Spears. Here you go. Sound smart about calculus. What does calculus mean in Latin? Calculations. Small pebbles, of course. Small pebbles. Who discovered calculus? Leibniz. What are the two types of calculus? Differential and integral. What is the name of the proof that is the derivation of differentiation? It's the fundamental theorem of calculus. Never mind. Differentiation of a function allows you to find the gradient of the line at that point. Differentiation of a function does not allow you to find the value of the stationary points. What is the volume of the revolution? Is that a Lin-Manuel Miranda lyric? What is the name of this concept where a composite function is differentiated? This shit is the product rule. Wrong, bitch. Which of the following can be proven with calculus? Personally, I know there's a lot of debate here. I think that it's the expectation of a discrete random variable. A lot of people would say Pythagoras theorem, but not me. There's so much debate in the world of calculus about this. Which of these functions is the same when derived? X does not equal x when derived. 1 over e to the x does not equal e to the x. X to the x does not equal x to the x. It must be 1 over x. I'm stupid? Integration of a function allows you to find the area under a graph. The area under a graph. Integration of a function does not allow you to find the arc length over a defined range. No, it's the concavity. It's my mistake. What is the name of this method used to solve many integrals shown in this picture? This would be integration by parts, which is not a numerical method to approximate integrals. That would be the Newton-Raphson method. I mean, as long as we're going to say this elementary, then sure, I'll give you the question the respect it deserves. Which of these can be used to solve a second-order linear ordinary differential equation shown in the image? If I know anything about separation of variables, that's something you do in algebra, not calculus. So something like this, I think there's no choice but to use a characteristic equation. What is the name of this differential equation? I'm going to have to say that this is the Navier-Stokes equation. Oh, I always get that confused with the Bernoulli differential equation. What is the form of the characteristic equation for a second-order linear ordinary differential equation? The form of the characteristic equation for a second-order linear ordinary differential equation. A second-order, it's simply quadratic. It's not complicated. As long as it's ordinary, then it's quadratic. Which of these can be used to optimize a function in two variables? Well, it depends on the two variables, whether or not they're ordinary or if they're chiral formed. I would say you could use partial differentials if you have to. Given a probability distribution function, Px equals x equals fx, which of the following gives Ex? One of the interesting things is you can do it however you want to do it. I personally like to do like a sigma infinity to negative infinity of fx. Px equals x equals fx. Which of the following gives ex? Yeah, I don't know what the hell you're asking me. There's a bass clef in this one. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm going to say that it's x squared minus x fx dx. Nah, that's my bad. Which of the following will be obtained if you differentiate the cumulative distribution function of x? Well, it's simple. You get var x. What distribution uses a series of linear transformations on this integral as the probability distribution function? That's Poisson. Oh, I almost passed. I almost passed. I almost got exactly a 50 just from guessing. Oh, man. So smart about Canada. Thank you. While Leif Erikson and the Norse peoples are believed to have visited Canada's east coast around 1000 AD, who was the first known European explorer to arrive and settle in Canada, and in what year? It's Jacques Cartier, right? Okay, John Cabot, my mistake. Cartier is much more famous. We named a diamond company after him. Before Europeans arrived during the Age of Discovery, Canada was inhabited by indigenous peoples. Which of the following is not one of the current 3 main Aboriginal groups in Canada? Okay, well, this is putting me at a bit of a quagmire. The Métis and the Inuit are guaranteed. I thought that First Nations was an umbrella term used to refer to all of the indigenous peoples that inhabited Canada. But now I'm wondering if it's not that First Nations is another group of Aboriginals, and I'm thinking that Cherokee is much more associated with like the American West, I think. So I'm going to go Cherokee. Okay, I've learned something. I've inferred something. The name Canada came from a conversation between French explorer Jacques Cartier and 2 indigenous youths who directed him towards Canada. What does this word mean in Huron Iroquois? It means village. Until the Dominion of Canada, it was basically France and Britain. Canadian Confederation was July 1st, 1867. Nunavut means that we have 10 provinces and 3 territories. Which of Canada's territories is the 5th largest country subdivision by area while also being the least populated Canadian subdivision? That would be Nunavut still. Which provinces or territories are the Maritimes? You got your New Brunswick, your Nova Scotia, your PEI. Which 2 sports? This will be ice hockey and lacrosse. This is a classic Canadian question. Lacrosse is not that big in Canada. Sometimes people will say, I didn't know lacrosse was that big. It's not really. Many Canadians are baffled by the fact that it's considered a national sport. No, I'm not saying nobody cares about it, but it is not even close to like to being a popular sport. Maybe in high school. With a height of 553 meters, the tallest structure in Canada is this is CN Tower, previously the tallest freestanding structure in the world. You know how many speeches I've heard in public speaking classes about the CN Tower? Which animal serves as a national emblem of Canada, also appearing on a 5-cent coin? That's the beaver. It's true. Which Canadian city is home to the world's tallest moose sculpture at a height? This shit is racist, okay? We have so much. What about, for Scandinavia, they're like, which country is the world's 2nd largest exporter of fish? I'm getting this question about what Canadian city is the tallest moose sculpture? Which Scandinavian country invented Lego? Which one of these joke animals is on the Canadian nickel? This shit is disgusting. I don't know. I'm assuming it's Moose Jaw. Just makes sense. What Canadian town is known as the polar bear capital of the world? Probably Dawson City. Churchill. How could Churchill, Manitoba be the polar bear capital of the world? This shit is not even like in the Arctic. It's cold. How could it be the polar bear capital of the world? It's on the Hudson Bay. It's got polar bears. You live in Churchill. You gotta carry like a rifle with you because there's polar. Don't even. You're gonna tell me there's more polar bears in in Churchill, Manitoba than there are in Dawson City? I don't. Maybe you're right. Canada's national motto, Amari Usque ad Mare, can be translated into English as which of the following? Mare oftentimes means seafood, or the sea. So I'm going to say from sea to sea. Which 3 provinces are known as the prairies? It's Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Yeah, the prairies. You know, the breadbasket of Canada. Also, one of the prairies has the most polar bears per capita of any place on the whole freaking continent, apparently. That's where we grow all our wheat. Yeah, and the summers, oh, they're so hot. By the way, there's lots of polar bears. Make it make sense, Churchill, Manitoba. Canada hosted 3 Olympic Games, 76, 88, 2010. That's Montreal, Calgary, Vancouver. Get it twisted. Which of these Canadian gold medal winning Olympic athletes won their medals in the Summer Olympics? That's Andre DeGrasse. Canada's political system is a constitutional monarchy. The head of government is the Governor General. Excuse me. Okay, listen. Obviously, the Prime Minister is the head of our political system, but the Governor General symbolically has more power than the Prime Minister. They have to assent to every decision made by the Canadian Parliament. It said head of government. It's a semantic difference. I mean, I was wrong, but I'm telling you, in the hierarchy, the Governor General comes above the Prime Minister, which is hard to believe. Which Canadian province produces the most maple syrup? Quebec. Canada's capital is now Ottawa, but it was originally Kingston. Got it memorized? You think, as someone who lived in Kingston, you think we don't hear every damn day that we were the first capital? Hey, you know, in 1841, we were actually the capital of Canada. You know less than about Scandinavia? This BS, okay? The Scandinavian quiz was too easy. Okay, chess. In Arabic and Russian, the bishop has another name. It is known as the elephant. The scholar's mate involves which 2 pieces? It's the queen and the bishop. The standard set of pieces is named after Staunton. Beginners tend to set up the chessboard in pieces incorrectly. Which is correct? Fuck. 1 second. 1 second, okay? The queen goes on the color that you are. So it's white queen on a white square. And then I think it's a dark square in the bottom left. So a light square in the bottom right. Okay, he's got it. I played too much online chess. It's been a long time. Sicilian Caro-Kann and Queen's Gambit are all examples of openings. Board visualization is an important skill to train. Which piece does not control the C6 square? Okay, I'm ready. A rook on F6 does not touch it. A queen on E3 does not touch it. A bishop on G2 does not touch it. A knight on B8 does touch it. Does not? Wait, what the hell? I've done it in reverse. Okay, a rook on F6 does touch it. A queen on E3. Wait, hold on. A bishop on G2 goes G2. G2 does get to C6. It's a queen on E3. Who's considered the strongest female chess player of all time? This is Judith Polgar. Which of these grandmasters has never been world champion? Hikaru Nakamura. Arpad Elo invented the rating system. Modern chess came from Chaturanga, invented in India. A useful tip for beginners to keep in mind goes, blanks on the rim are grim. What? I've never heard this in my life. Well, I feel like knights on the rim is very bad because they lose some of their ability to control space. I've never heard knights on the rim is grim. That must have been invented after my time. Okay. A chess computer defeated Garry Kasparov. It was called Deep Blue. 2017, Google released a machine learning AI that mastered chess and crushed the strongest computers. It was called, is it AlphaZero? Because that was the one that did Go. I've never heard of the other one, so I'm going to say it's AlphaZero. The Bong Cloud is a joke opening where the king moves to e2. King is moved on the second turn. Which grandmaster lost his title as world champion? That was Anand. Levi Rosman has the most popular chess channel on YouTube. That's called Gotham Chess. Which set of pieces can never deliver checkmate against a lone king? King and bishop cannot checkmate. Which of these is a math problem inspired by chess? I believe that would be the bishop's walk. Never mind. Which of these is a chess tactic? The fork. Some chess terms are taken from foreign languages. Which refers to a move that involves sacrificing a trapped piece? Desperado? Never heard of it, honestly. Average score 54%? You got to play some more chess. Stop watching. Actually, you got to stop playing chess. You got to watch some more videos. A lot of those questions were kind of about YouTube more than anything else. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wouldn't know. Sounds smart about the NHL. Let's go. Sorry, Chad. The National Hockey League was founded in 1917 by 4 former NHA franchises, 2 based in Montreal, 1 in Ottawa, 1 in Quebec City. Quebec, however, was unable to play. They were replaced by a new team with Toronto with this team nickname. These will be the St. Pats. Wrong, bitch. It's the Arenas. The NHL broke a huge rule barrier in response to a habit of one of its players, Clint Benedict. They made it so position players could shoot the puck on their back. They made it so goaltenders could drop to their knees to stop the puck. The record for goals by a player in a single game was set at 7. That was Joe Malone. In order to promote offense, they allowed players to do something they previously could not do. It's true. You used to not be able to make forward passes. I can't imagine that the highlights were that good back then. You used to... I mean, this is a little bit before my time. You used to only be able to pass behind you. It was a wild time. Okay, in 1944, Maurice Richard scored 50 goals in 50 games. Richard turned the Canadiens into a powerhouse. They won more cups than any other franchise as of today. Before his arrival, they had only won this many championships in their first 35 years. I'm going to say 3. The 40s saw the arrival of Gordie Howe. What is a Gordie Howe hat trick? You need a goal, an assist, and a fight in the same game. By the 1950s, the Canadiens had become so dominant, the league introduced a new rule to counter their dominant power play. What new rule was introduced? There's another rule. If you score a goal on the power play, then the penalty is over. It used to be if someone got a penalty, they had to serve the whole 2 minutes, and if you were good on the power play, you just light them up. You could just go apeshit on them. That was probably a smart rule. Minor penalties would end after a goal was scored on the shorthanded team. The NHL consisted of original 6 teams for 25 years before major expansion doubled it to 12 in 1967. Which of these teams did not receive an expansion team that year? That's Buffalo. That was 1970, because it's the same as Vancouver. Prior to the 1960s, raising the puck with a shot was difficult due to the straight blades on hockey sticks, until this player popularized the banana blade, which was heavily curved. The league eventually imposed limits on stick blade curvature in 19... Okay, hockey's kind of silly. I believe that the banana blade was Bobby Hull. Hull was known as the Golden Jet due to his blonde hair. Who was the last helmetless player in the NHL? That's Craig Mctavish. During the 1970s, the NHL faced competition from the IHL. What was it called? It was called the IHL. What? I'm bad. 4 of the strongest teams from the WHA were absorbed by the NHL. Which of the teams below was not one of them? That's a great question. I honestly have no idea. It must have been Calgary because they came from Atlanta later. The 1980s brought a new offensive juggernaut with Wayne Gretzky. In 1982, he did something that no other player has ever done. Then he did it 3 more times. What did he do? He scored 200 points in a season. This unthinkable event related to Gretzky occurred in 1988. He was traded. In the late 80s, the impending collapse of the Soviet Union opened up the NHL. Who was the first Soviet player granted permission to play in the NHL? Granted permission? By whom? Because McGillney was first, I think. Never mind. My mistake. I don't know about granted, but the 91 NHL... Okay, sorry. Eric Lindros refused to report to the Quebec Nordiques. Mario Lemieux won the scoring title in 1993 over Pat LaFontaine. The 1999... Okay, whose skate was in the crease? Brett Hull, don't at me. This is first outdoor regular season game was held 5 years earlier. Which NHL city and stadium? I don't know, man. Edmonton. It makes perfect sense. Anyway, we crushed it. Here's the thing. Brett Hull's foot was in the crease. But I remember that probably the most hockey I ever watched until I moved to Vancouver was watching games like every night with my dad and my grandpa in like 1998, 1999. That season was fucked up. There was like a goal every game that called back due to someone's skate blade being in the crease by like a nanometer. It ruined watching hockey on TV for like 2 years. And then they went, you know what? No thanks. I'm not doing this shit anymore. Now we're just gonna... I don't even know what the rule is now. You can be in the crease as long as you're not actively impeding the goalie's ability to save the puck or something. Now, yes, true. Now we review offsides every game. Then the new annoyance in hockey is when you're watching your team enter the zone and you think it was offside, and then they hold the puck in the zone for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. They score a goal, and then the other coach is like, that was offside, so now we got to go watch it. And then we're like, shit was offside. So literally they played 2 minutes of sports they didn't even need to play. And then the goal comes back, and it's a whole thing. Anyway. I did see someone say, who traded Gretzky? It was a whole thing, okay? That gets... there's a conspiracy theory that he had the NHL tried to force his hand to be traded from Edmonton to Los Angeles to grow the game in new American markets. Also, there was the owner of the Edmonton Oilers was destitute or something like that. So the only thing they could do was get Dwayne Gretzky. Is the only asset they had. Anyway,